Simon, welcome back to our channel.
Thank you for having me.
Look, we got lots of people asking you to come back. There are a bunch of stuff that the audience wants to see, including Zoho Books, Zoho Inventory, Zoho Expense, different features. So before this session, we talked about the features that the audience wants to see. I will give you the stage. Show us books.
Yeah, so we'll run this through maybe a couple of segments. We can talk about, Zoho Inventory, Zoho Books, Zoho Expense are all very different, and they offer different things for different companies and people and business owners.
Today we're doing books, right? Today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll focus on books today. We'll run through a couple of the main, top 5 things that business owners typically ask about. And this is not just business owners, it's also accountants and bookkeepers and of that nature. So yeah, we'll run through a couple of the main things. I have about a list of 5-6 things right now.
Okay.
And we'll go, with the importance, because a lot of these features are not marketed or advertised as much because they're not really things that you can talk about on an advertising posting. So it's good to know about these things because they might make a big difference on whether or not you want to use a specific software. When we're advising clients on, going against Oracle or SAP or Zoho or QuickBooks or Xero, we're typically looking at what they require, what kind of industry they're in, and the features that they really need. So let's run through maybe like the first couple and see where it takes us.
Question for you before we start. I know that you're doing FreshBooks, QuickBooks, SAP, Oracle. You're doing bunch of different accounting systems. And be honest, again, I don't care if you say even that Zoho Books is the shittiest of them all.
Yeah.
Where Zoho Books is in the food chain in terms of best or lowest or medium?
Yeah, it's a really good question, especially nowadays because technology has evolved so much in the last 4 to 5 years.
Right.
QuickBooks has been around for a little while and they keep implementing new things and this and that. Mm-hmm. SAP is a really good, they don't really have a cloud-based software. You have to have kind of some sort of a database.
Right?
Yeah, and have it on a desktop or a server. So typically with cloud-based accounting softwares nowadays, especially in the last year and a half to 2, Zoho Books has been pretty much the number 1 contender and the number 2 probably around most of the world. And they're just, I have no idea what it is because we're just accountants, right?
Why is it? Why Zoho Books is better than something else?
The attention that they're putting on the software is a lot more than before because Zoho Books has been around, right? But in the last couple of years,
13 years, I think. It's the first
in the last couple of years, they're just putting so much money and effort and support into books that it's phenomenal. They're coming out with updates every couple of weeks. We're actually seeing a trend where most of the clients that we have clients in all systems, but typically with Zoho Books, we see the least amount of conversion outwards. So it's a really good sign from accountants to see this because we see it all on different industries and we can compare it pretty consistently. Whereas you see a lot of people leaving QuickBooks and going somewhere else.
I left QuickBooks.
Yeah.
Converted me.
Yeah, exactly. So, so Zoho is doing really well. And I mean, their capabilities and functionalities are almost comparable to what SAP can offer, obviously without certain really high level details that SAP can do that Zoho just can't. And it's not really something they should or need to because SAP is SAP for a reason.
It's for enterprise. Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll run in, through a couple of things. The first one we'll talk about is banking because that's a big one. Yeah. A lot of business owners, they love the banking platform. They love the modules. They're like, what can we do here? How can we use it to better the business? And accountants and bookkeepers, it's like their hub, right? It's the area where they rely on most of the information. So I'll share my screen and we'll run through it a little bit.
Very good.
So this is sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm enjoying every second.
Perfect. Good. So this is a test account for a bookkeeping company. So just keep that in mind when you're watching this, just to know what some of the terminology might be or some of the item codes or whatnot. So just to let you know, that's what it is. But it's a bookkeeping company. We have connected one bank account in here. It's a credit card. But you see, the layout is very friendly. It's not as user-friendly as QuickBooks. Let's be honest. QuickBooks,
Yeah, I agree.
interface is extremely user-friendly, and it's very, very pretty compared to this. This looks like Microsoft DOS, like DOS. Like it just looks, it could use a little bit of a facelift, but it's okay.
I agree about that.
Yeah,
For sure.
but going into the banking section, you have a nice overview of all the bank accounts. Now, this is quite interesting because you have a lot of different functionalities and options. One of the main things that a lot of companies use nowadays is the rule function. It's available in Zoho Books.
What is the rule function?
So a rule is essentially a trigger, kind of like a what if statement or an if statement, that once a transaction gets pulled from the bank, it gets allocated automatically as per a rule. So this could be based off of a value, so a specific number. It could be based off of text. It could be a combination of the two. And then the coding gets done on its own.
If, for example, one of my transactions will be Amazon, it will automatically allocate it as office expense with a X amount of tax code.
That's correct. Yeah. So, and you can have all this control. You can even pick what kind of, transaction it is. And we'll talk about tag reporting later, but you could do that as well, including in the rules. Now, the interesting thing about this specific system is when you're setting up rules, it's bank specific. In QuickBooks, you can do the same thing, but in QuickBooks, you can do rules all across the board. So you can do rules that will hit all banks at the same time, as long as they're with the same currency. Here, you can only do rules specific to each bank. So it's a little bit of extra work because you have to go into each bank and configure it individually. So if you have, a client that you can pay out of two different banks, that the rule will not work because you have to set it up in the second one. So
when you have expenses, is it not making sense to have it per bank? Because the expense usually it's from one account, no?
Yeah, but imagine you have, like 4 employees that will have credit cards on the accounts, and you're not doing it through Zoho Expense. Then over here, let's just say each one of them has Adobe, Microsoft, whatever it might be that's on a recurring basis. You'll have to create those rules. Again, it's just a couple of extra seconds of work. Got it. When you get into the actual credit card section and you click here, you have all the transactions which are already posted in the system. Right here, we have 0. And then you have all the uncategorized transactions. And these are the things that you have to go through and just review. Okay. Let's go to Amazon.
Yeah, that's very common.
Perfect. So Amazon. So this is a typical expense. You can code the expense. Let's just put it into office. Perfect. Office supplies. Vendor. We can create the vendor.
And when you do that, is it creating an expense in the system when you connect it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you're posting directly from the banking module into the system, it gets posted as an expense, not as a bill. Those are two different things. Bill goes through accounts payable. Expense goes directly against the bank account or credit card.
Right, because the expense, it's money out.
Yeah, it's like COD style of transaction. Okay. So Amazon created the vendor. Okay, and we can type in anything we want here in the description and the reference and these things. Certain areas you can report on. So if you want to help yourself with some of the reference numbers, if that helps you, by all means, you can search based off of reference number, whatever you want.
Now, when you created the vendor Amazon, you had to create it because it was not in the system. But the second time that you will select an Amazon account, then it will populate again the vendor Amazon.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it'll be here for good now. It's now created as a vendor in the database for master data. Yeah, like all the vendors and customers.
Okay.
Now you can attach a receipt here, and you have a couple of cool options. So you can go from the desktop, from cloud, or from documents. Now we'll talk about documents a little bit later because the document section is right here in the Zoho Books platform.
I'm using the documents all the time.
It's really convenient, and companies really, really like to use this option. The desktop option is really nice because you can just do that. You can also click and drag with most of the transactions. Now here's the tags that I was talking about, but we'll talk about that a bit later.
Okay.
Now let's just post this one on its own.
Yep.
Once you post it, then you get this option to start creating a rule. Okay.
And then you have the amount, you have the vendor. That's beautiful. Okay.
Yeah. And the rule already understands the other preset values from before, right? So you don't need to tell it what the vendor is or what the expense code is because that's already been coded.
Right.
So here I typically remove the amount. I leave the payee or in the description, and I click all, and maybe remove all this stuff just to make it a little bit more clean. Here we create the Amazon rule name, okay, and we click save rule. And that's it. Now, if there's another Amazon expense, then it's going to automatically post on its own and know exactly where to do it. You see, that if you forgot to attach a receipt, you can also click and drag here. It's nice and easy.
Now, if you, for example, it was categorized in the wrong way, can you click and change it?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the all transactions, you can find it here, and you can click on this one and click uncategorize. Okay?
Got it.
And that will push it back into the bank. Alternatively, you can also go into the purchases section in the expense area where you're also going to see it. And then you're going to click on categorize now as well here.
Got it.
Right. There's just two paths to doing the exact same
now,
thing.
What is the reason for me as a business owner? Why do I need to attach the receipts, and why it's important?
Yeah, well, authorities and different regulatory bodies require you to do certain backup threshold and hold on to backup for a certain amount of years. So, in Canada, as per CRA, we have to hold it for X amount of years just for audit purposes. The government can always come back and ask, hey, look, we need to verify certain GL codes and see exactly what brought it up to this balance. Then they ask for backup. This is a great way to keep track of all your expenses and receipts and make sure that nothing is missed. It's another good way, if a company is quite large, to understand how to allocate a certain expense, right? Because look, an Amazon can be a business gift. It can be an office expense. It can be a computer supplies, right?
Right.
It depends on how the business owner wants to split out these expenses and understand the breakdown of their P&L, right? Because the business owner can say, I don't really care for it. All Amazon goes to one code. And that's totally fine too, right? Just depends on who and what and how they want to do it. When you're done posting all the expenses, you can click on this.
Just a second, a few more questions about the bank section. If you can go back to the banking. Okay, so if, for example, I have 5 credit cards, 2 bank accounts, can I still have it in the same place?
That's correct, yeah. You can connect them all here. And they don't have to be all from the same bank. When you click add bank, you have a bunch of options and different things that you can add here. And if you search, there's a lot more than just this list. Check this out.
Yeah, it's a huge list.
And keep in mind, like this is pretty much all over the world. So some countries, if you have a US based, Zoho Books account, it'll have access to different banking companies or different banks.
Got it.
Okay.
Now let's say that they have new transactions. How those transactions are being fed into the system.
New transactions?
Yeah. So let's say right now it says 18 transactions on this fake credit card. Tomorrow I have more transactions. How those transactions will come to my Zoho Books?
Yeah. So with Zoho Books, you update it on your own. So you just right click on here, and you can do this in many ways. Maybe because we just added this account, you can't do it right away. But in the gear icon, typically you can click refresh feeds and then.
Got it. And then it will pull the information.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. And when you have the same bank, then it'll do it all for the same login, right? So if you have 4 accounts that were used through one login, it'll be the same exact update.
So if you have 2 credit cards and 1 bank account from one institution, it will do everything.
Yeah. It's nice and easy. And honestly, it's a nice little sense check to see how your business is doing, right? From clearing the transactions and how everything's up to date.
Yep.
The other interesting thing about banking is you can click here and you can actually do import statements, which is a nice feature. If, let's say, for some reason, the system glitched out and wasn't able to load, let's say, 3 weeks of data, you can actually import an entire bank statement, like the PDF into the system, and it'll read it and upload it and show it here.
Not the Excel. You're talking about the PDF.
PDF, yeah.
That's cool.
So when you click here, you can do a bunch of them. So typically it's XLS or the QuickBooks files or CSVs, but it's quite good. Like you can get a lot of information out of it and load it into the bank and then be able to process and post things right away.
That's cool.
Now, the other interesting thing is obviously reconciling the account. All accounting systems should have this. This is super important. Okay.
Why do you need to reconcile the account?
That's a good question. So reconciling the account is essentially a way for you to verify the information that's already been posted in the system. So when somebody reconciles the account, this individual will then verify that all the entries have been done, nothing is missed in the bank statement from the bank statement, and nothing is duplicated. It's also a nice way to just verify to see that nothing is added on top as an error, right? Because you can create expenses from here.
Mm-hmm.
And once you create a new expense here, you can actually click the paid through account and accidentally choose the credit card where it wasn't really supposed to go there, right? So it's just a nice way to verify information and close off the month. It's a procedure that most companies should do and follow. And when you're dealing with accountants or bookkeepers, they do this 100% of the time. If they don't, there's a bit of an alarm there.
Got it. So it's just like double checking that all the entries are correct.
Yeah, it's cross-referencing and making sure that nothing is missed and nothing is duplicated and entered incorrectly.
Got it.
Okay. So this is pretty much, the bank feed and the banking options. We can go into more details a little bit later, but I think this is a nice overview to just understand how to do all these things and how to do this properly. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below and then we can address it and help you out.